Good afternoon, students. Chapter 12 has to do with something we know very much about, and that is affective development or emotional development. This basically means it's the center of the development of our social self, emotional self, our personality characteristics, and our self-concept. That covers just about everything that makes you who you are. I think you've probably heard the expression, the emotional brain. We now know that, yes, we have an emotional brain. It's true that our brains are wired to work and to process using our emotions, not ignoring them. For a long time, it was thought that affective development had nothing to do with the brain's cognitive development. We now know that that is not the case. It has everything to do with our brains, our abilities to do what we do. Our emotions are just a vital part of who we are and a part of everything that we do. And when you realize that, it can maybe help you work with young children with their emotional development, because it's an important aspect of working with young children. You know, we have to be aware that children have different experiences when they come into a child care center or a school, and those experiences are shaping their emotional reactions and behaviors, and we have to be prepared to maybe react or act appropriately when children are using their emotions. Maybe we might feel in an inappropriate way. They are there to learn, and we must be there to support them in their learning of their emotional development. If they've come from a home where there's a lot of yelling and screaming, a home where the children aren't listened to really, then you can pretty much expect that to show up in a classroom, the yelling and the screaming. So I don't know if you've ever had a child yell and scream at you. It's not the pleasantest experience, but as an adult, we have to understand, why is that child doing this? And we must be supportive and help them learn new and better and more appropriate ways to handle anger and emotions. These emotions start at the very start of life, and one thing must happen before emotional development can be successful, and that is attachment. The baby must be able to attach to that significant parent, adult, or other caregiver. Attachment will bring with it the emotional dependency. That's as they get a little bit older. You'll notice the child is seeking reassurance quite often. And eventually it comes to verbal attention. They will come to you. Did you see what I just did? Look at what I just did. It may be a somersault or something that they did. They want the adult's attention, and they will seek that out. And that is acceptable, appropriate development. Then your chapter does discuss many aspects of emotional development. This is really a large chapter with a lot of stuff in it. It talks about, with really extensive paragraphs, on such things as emotional development when it comes to fear, anxiety, when it comes to stress, hostility, anger, happiness, and humor, just to name a few. And one last thing I want to mention is the idea of self-concept and self-esteem. Self-concept is just a person's idea about who or what she is or he is. And self-esteem is maybe how much respect a person has for their self-concept. They kind of go together. And I don't think we need to think too much about how important this is. Think about how your self-concept and self-esteem has developed from the time you were a child. What things influenced how you felt about yourself, how important you felt you were, and everything about you. Um, our previous experiences, whether positive or negative, will affect the self-concept and self-esteem of individuals from the time they are children clear through adulthood. And sometimes when we have managed to accumulate a lot of negative self-concept, it's kind of hard to let go of that as time goes on. But I think all adults, even myself, need to work on this idea of, I'm really a valuable person. I'm an important person. I may not be the prettiest person on the block, but guess what? That doesn't matter, especially at my age. But with social media influences, it has become very evident how much a person's self-concept and self-image is affected. And we need to learn to work with young children from the time they're infants on the importance of how important they are as human beings and as individuals. And we must always work and strive not to put them down in any way, no matter how much we don't like the behaviors they may be showing. It's up to us to show them and help them develop the behaviors that are more appropriate and acceptable. And they will learn these as they look to you, as they model. What do you do when you're angry? How do you express yourself? These things will be conveyed to young children. It's an area that just can't be overstressed as far as the importance of helping young children with their affective, emotional development. Okay, thank you very much, and we'll talk to you later.